What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trust Your Board podcast. My name's Stephen Wright, joined as always, Mr. William Monroe. We got another mini mock episode here for you today. Will, what are we doing?
Steve, today we have a 12-team PPR mini mock draft. Going to aim for 5 rounds, and I'll be drafting out of the 5th spot. You will be in the 11th spot.
Awesome. Ready to get started?
Let's get it going.
Okay, so we are... Wow. So... Wow, Christian McCaffrey off the board first, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 2, and then Kamara and Zeke. Wow.
I wonder if when we get to regular draft season, if this is where the hype will have gotten to, and you will see players like
people are going to do it.
Barkley falling to 5. Like, this is kind of unreal. I was actually, looking into maybe going wide receiver heavy here and just seeing what it looks like with going like zero-ish RB. I was listening to another podcast, and they were, the theory is this year more than ever you want to go zero RB because of just the amount of injuries that usually happen, but then with COVID, the amount of other running backs that are going to be viable at times. So it's interesting to see different people with different perspective. I've seen other people say load up on running backs, so interesting, but in this one, I can't let Saquon fall. As I mentioned, top 3 running backs there. I'm not gonna with Zeke, Saquon, and McCaffrey. If one of them is available, anything outside of that top 3, it's an easy scoop for me here. So Barkley it is. After Barkley goes Michael Thomas, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Joe Mixon.
Well, I guess in your honor, I will go ahead and take up the mantle. And I'll just do zero RB. We'll see how it goes. It sucks because Kenyon Drake's on the board and Dalvin Cook. It would be nice if Devontae Adams had fallen here, but what can you do? I'm in agreement with you. I've thought this year was going to be a good zero RB year back in, before the rookie draft. It just seems so obvious with all the free agent running backs, all the rookies coming in. It's it's going to be deep. You get those Howards, the volume plays for Howard and Sony. You get the pass catching from a Breida late.
Yeah,
grab some rookies.
You load up on a
Dobbins.
couple of, a couple of guys that are just your Madisons, your backups that are going to boom if the guy ahead of them is out, even if it's just for a couple of weeks, like we are with COVID. So I think even with COVID, it makes it even more, the zero RB could be even more viable.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be interesting. I've never come out of my drafts liking my teams, but it's just you're uncomfortable with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first wide receiver I'm going to grab is going to be Tyreek. He's probably my number 2. I really think I got him above Adams. So I love him here. He's going to be the start to my zero RB strategy. We had Kenyon Drake and Nick Chubb go off at the turn.
When's the last time you saw Dalvin Cook in the second round?
I know, right? It's amazing. This is, why you want to stay flexible and not iron out a strategy in the beginning, but whatever. I'm going to go ahead. There's plenty of good options on the board. Hopkins, Julio, Chris Godwin, Golladay. I like Godwin a little bit to pair with Tyreek. You have your Godwin, more of a PPR kind of a guy. He's going to get peppered with a lot of targets. Not really a deep ball. He could take some passes to the house, but he's not the deep ball guy. That's going to be Mike Evans. So I'm going to take the deep ball shots of Tyreek, combine that with the peppering of targets that Godwin's going to get, and that's going to balance each other out. So that is what I am going to do. Dalvin Cook, there he goes off the board. Julio Jones, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, and DeAndre Hopkins.
All right, so top on the board, we have all of our quarterbacks still, all of our tight ends as well. You got Eckler, Gurley, Connor, Fournette, David Johnson, and then at the wide receiver position, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster. One thing to note that I didn't realize, but I'm seeing it here, looks like Kenny Golladay went on the COVID list. I didn't see that. Doesn't necessarily mean he has it, but it means he may have been in contact with someone who was infected, so they're going to... the level of wide receivers is kind of in that next tier for me that I want to see if I can get, another type of player than them. And looking at the running back position, still have Austin Eckler. He's kind of the end of that. I don't even know what tier that would be. If I have the top three, probably the end of the third-ish tier. Of guys that I like kind of better than that. Gurley, Connor, Fournette, David Johnson, unsure older veterans that should be good with the volume they're going to get, but have a question mark one way or another. So for me, pretty easy to lock in Austin Eckler here with almost an RB-heavy strategy from the looks of it, opposite of yours, and we'll go Austin Eckler. After him, both quarterbacks go Mahomes, Lamar, Travis Kelce, then Todd Gurley, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Kenny Golladay, and George Kittle off the board. So with that being the case, we'll take a look here. There's top two tight ends, top two quarterbacks go. Kind of per usual, if any of them was available, especially the tight ends, maybe so the quarterbacks, it would have given me pause, but now we're going to be looking back at the running back receiver position once again. Mike Evans calls out to me here as kind of the best available guy. Wouldn't mind grabbing, a David Johnson, Chris Carson, Lev Bell, safer option and have, at the flex. But as we were mentioning there, so there still is some uncertainty at the running back position with those players. And while I feel like year in, year out, Mike Evans, gets a lot of, flack, he's been pretty consistent, looking at his numbers year in and year out. So going to go with Mike Evans here, get the first wide receiver on this team, and pair him with Saquon Barkley and Austin Eckler. So Mike Evans on the team, David Johnson, Chris Carson, Le'Veon Bell, Allen Robinson, and Adam Thielen.
Okay, so I already don't like doing 0 RB out of this spot, because if I'm doing 0 RB, I tend to want Kelce or Kittle, and you're not going to get them here unless you go real early in the early second. I could get a Mark Andrews. I just don't have him in that same tier.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting spot to be in, but we'll stick with it. So running or wide receivers that we have on the board, we have OBJ, we got Juju, we got DJ Moore, and Amari Cooper. I will go ahead and I will grab my guy in DJ Moore. Pretty simple. And then I'm not sure what I'm waiting for next. Mark Andrews is in there, but I could also go with an Amari Cooper and almost strike the balance of like DJ Moore's going to get peppered with targets, Chris Godwin's going to get peppered with targets, and you have Amari Cooper as your boom guy, you got Tyreek as a boom guy, so it's like continuing that balance there. What a lock in DJ Moore. We had Jonathan Taylor and OBJ go off the board, so not helping me at all there. As a quick reminder, in a lot of our mocks we do, we start one quarterback, two running back, two wide receivers, one tight end, and two flex. So grabbing a fourth wide receiver here, it's definitely possible and would fill out my flex position entirely, but I will go ahead and grab a tight end. I'll grab Mark Andrews here and just fill up that position. There's just too much value at the wide receiver position for me to just add another one where I can just get somebody late. So we're going to lock him in. We got Juju, Melvin Gordon, Mark Ingram, Amari Cooper, and Cooper Kupp off the board before your pick.
All right. So if we're looking, you took the third tight end there, Mark Andrews, so just those top three off the board, just the top two quarterbacks off the board there. And yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm still kind of waiting to see where then, next quarterback. Is it Russell? Is it Dak? Is it Kyler Murray? And where are they going to routinely go? It looks like the rankings here are, 59, 60, low 60s. So that would be at the end of the fifth, early sixth here in a 12-team league, which I'd imagine most home leagues you're going to see another one go a little earlier than that. So we'll see, how that works. I'm not really looking at that position now. Zach Ertz is interesting here as well, but I think with two of the four teams behind me having a tight end already, don't mind risking it. I wouldn't be super bummed if I don't get him, but he's the last guy that I would be targeting. And, if I don't get him, you'd be waiting on the tight end position for a while here. So we're looking at wide receiver and running back. Wide receiver, you have Ridley, Woods, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, And then at the running back position, David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift. The value here is at wide receiver. It's just, is there any running backs that I want to grab now? And then, because you're probably running out of options after that. Not thrilled with the David Montgomery. Singletary and Mostert are interesting. Hunt as well, and then you have your rookies. So probably see what happens. Maybe, see which of them are available in the next round and look to the wide receiver position. Not big on Calvin Ridley. I think he is in the mold of, what a Robert Woods could be. That just solid, consistent wide receiver too. And even when Julio leaves, volume may go up there. I just don't see him as that alpha wide receiver. So I'd rather get a Robert Woods this year and draft like this. But for me, I'm going to go with an upside guy because I do think Mike Evans is going to have some consistency with an A.J. Brown. I believe in the talent. I don't know if the efficiency is going to be there. But with the talent there, I do believe he'll be able to put up somewhat of the numbers he had there. And if the volume can go up a little bit, then he should be able to produce just like he did last year. So we'll pair A.J. Brown with Mike Evans and see what happens here on the turn. Calvin Ridley goes, Devin Singletary, Robert Woods, David Montgomery, Zach Ertz, Raheem Mostert, T.Y. Hilton, and DJ Chark. So looking at the wide receiver position, we got DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett. At running back, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers. And then the top 4 tight ends off the board, still not a second quarterback off the board. So this is probably where you start to consider it if you really like one of those quarterbacks above the rest of them, here in the mid-5th, because you imagine by the end of this round to the beginning of the 6th, people are going to start going for those players. The value will be there. For me, though, I'm going to look at the running back position just because I don't think there's too much left there. And you have your choice of the rookies outside of Jonathan Taylor and Clyde. So you got DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers there. But I'm going to go with, a trusted guy in a Kareem Hunt here in the 5th round. First flex position. I feel like he's not a bad running back too if you load up on other positions. But if you can get him in the flex position, I think you know what you're getting out of him week to week. You could have a couple weeks where he scores, which will definitely put him up, but you're going to get the targets there. He's going to get a fair amount of carries. So we like Kareem Hunt here. So we'll go Kareem. After that, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Darren.
Yeah, so this is about the spot where I'm going to start turning away from the wide receiver position. Still got a lot of good guys here. Cortland Sutton, Stefan Diggs, A.J. Green, Hollywood Brown, Devontae Parker. So plenty of good options, but do want to start striking at the running back position. We have DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, Ronald Jones, Darius Geis, James White, J.K. Dobbins. We still got a lot of good options. This is the last pick of my draft, so I'll go a little bit deeper here. We would likely grab 2 running backs back to back here. So it's really up to me. I think, as terrible as it is to say, I think I trust Ronald Jones a little bit more for my first because he's not a rookie. He's established in that system, established to a degree. He knows the offense, whereas Swift and Akers are dealing with the weird offseason. Geis has that upside, but he's got the injury history as well. So just a little bit more comfortable with Ronald Jones. And then on my next turnaround, maybe then I would take like a Geis. And then we got a long wait until we get back to us. But, we go further down. We got Jordan Howard, Keyshawn Vaughn, Tevin Coleman, Sony's there, Tariq Cohen, Matt Breida, who I always talk up a little bit. So maybe later, 7-8, we'd be looking at Breida, maybe Matson. Howard would be nice if he falls. I don't see it happening. But that's probably what the strategy would look like. But I'm going to go ahead to finish out this draft and just draft Ronald Jones there. Pause the draft. Will, you want to give a rundown of your team?
Yeah, so we got Saquon Barkley at the 5th spot, and then Austin Eckler on the way back, Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, and Kareem Hunt. Pretty happy with the balance to start the team here. Obviously, you were going with the 0 RB, so your team would have looked a little different had you just kind of been fluid and taking best available there. But, happy with the way it worked out. Saquon, probably doesn't usually get there. that pick probably ends up being Michael Thomas in a regular draft for me. Maybe Dalvin Cook, but the team may look a lot different there. But in this scenario, someone reached for Edwards, a couple other guys go ahead. And running back core of Saquon, Eckler, and Kareem Hunt's solid. Mike Evans and A.J. Brown is a pretty respectable wide receiver core as well. So probably build to lengthen out both of those positions a bit and then wait on the tight end or wide receiver or quarterback position unless one of those guys falls here in the 6th round. But overall I like it. What about you, Steve?
So starting with the first round, I went with Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Mark Andrews, and Ronald Jones. It's not that bad. Grabbing another running back here, it's really going to depend on who would fall to me in the 7-8 slot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it could work. I mean, obviously zero RB would work, but I would prefer it more in the middle rounds. Like if I could have grabbed Kareem Hunt there, or if Mostert fell, that would be really nice. Where we're kind of in the tier where like these guys can work out, but not all of them are going to work out. Yeah. So you kind of start throwing a little bit. And, we mention it all the time. We're on the turns. Like we like, or at least me, I like flexibility. You got to reach for your guys, but I like striking a balance of like wide receiver and running back that way. If any runs happen, you have flexibility to bob and weave either way. And when you're pigeonholing yourself in a 0 RB and you're close to the turn, things can go badly very quickly. So it's not bad. I don't mind the team. It looks like it has a good start. I would have to see what it would look like by the end, but it's not a bad start. I'd be somewhat comfortable with it. That's going to wrap up today's episode. Tune in tomorrow for a full mock draft. Until then, trust your board.